somewhere in Honolulu, Hawaii. I'm Shumai Shirashima. This is Doom Business, and business is dooming. Hello, folks. Welcome. This is our good friend Christian here. Hello, Christian.
Hello, I'm back on the show.
Now, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling all right. I have a little bit of an allergy.
Allergy, you say. Quote-unquote allergy.
Well, it must be one of two things. The aliens.
Your implant?
Yes, or the place that we're at, which we're not supposed to say where we are, but the air is kind of dusty in here.
Right. It's rather old, but it is a place that we can record in. So that's grateful. Be grateful for that. Just don't make any mess now.
And today, my understanding is you're going to talk about a mysterious journey into mystery.
See, in the span between the wrestling episode, which is doing really well, by the way. I'm glad we did that. It was really fun.
Yes.
But recently I've had an adventure.
Well, first of all,
I've had a little adventure.
Before we get to that, let's talk about what has been happening with your place. Now, I know that the old bunker is flooded.
Oh yeah, that's long gone.
We recorded in that tent when it rained. Remember that? Have you found a new place to live? I believe you mentioned, right?
Now, folks, this is real life. Now, I will be moving my stuff into my new place, which is in Pearl City. In Honolulu, Hawaii.
Yes,
in
the
Pearl
island
City.
of Oahu.
It's rather far from town, but it's very quiet.
For those who don't know about Pearl City, just think about pearls.
Why is it called?
They're beautiful.
Well, why is it called?
That's why it's called that. I don't know.
There's really nothing there. I mean, there's Pearl Ridge Shopping Center.
Right, Pearl Ridge is a shopping center. It has uptown and downtown sides.
There's a train that connects.
There's a tiny monorail. Look this up.
Monorail. I mean, it's real.
Wikipedia. Look on Wikipedia. This is true. There's a tiny monorail.
People smoke weed on that thing.
Between the two sides of only on that thing, and then they throw it out the window at the end.
Yeah.
The whole ride is only 1 minute long, so
Pearl Ridge is
they hotbox the monorail. So you're moving into your new place.
So my new place on Sunday
tell me about what
in a
that
few
place
days.
is like.
Well, the place is interesting. You see, it's actually a store.
Yes.
Now, do you like anime? Do you know what anime is?
I like some anime.
Now, anime is
I'm no expert.
Anime is a French word, is it not?
Yes, the Japanese borrowed the word from the French because they love France there. They think France is really cool. So they borrowed the word from the French for their name for animation, which they call anime.
Anime.
I'm no super expert in this, but I have seen some shows that I liked. You know, just recent shows like Ranma, Macross.
Ranma?
And of course,
Appleseed.
Appleseed. I think there's some
Dominion
new ones.
Tank Police.
Right. You're Under Arrest. Just new shows that came out recently. I'm sure there's some newer ones that I'm not aware of.
Maybe. I'm probably not. But I live in what you would call an anime toy store.
Irresponsible Captain Tyler. Mm-hmm. No, anyway, go on.
It's a place that just has all anime. I'm not going to say the name of the store.
So they're renting out to you to actually, do you have a bed?
Well, you see, I have another job, which I will not disclose. But my coworker said that I could stay at this store during, closed business hours. I can stay in the store. I can just sleep in the middle of the store pretty much. But when it's daytime, I have to kind of hide out in the back. Usually I'm hiding behind like a shelf of tanks and other figurines, or just cruising it.
Is there something like a giant...
I read mangas just in the store. Is there
like a giant anime body pillow or something up on the wall with its eyes cut out, and you're hiding behind that, like looking through the eye holes?
No, that's too weird. I just spend all day, 8 hours a day, just wandering the store.
That's too weird.
With customers, and I just pretend that I work there. I don't get paid, but it's the love. It's the love. But yeah, I'm there pretty much, for $300 a month. There's a bathroom. Well, what you would call a bathroom. It's really just a bucket. But look, I'm not going to complain. I'm not fully moved in yet. I'm still living in this shack at my other friend's place.
Hold on. You're still living in that same place that you were last time we recorded?
Well, because I'm still moving things.
Yeah.
On Sunday, everything will be moved. But until then...
But now, correct me if I'm wrong now, but there was no electricity there, right? You were saying?
No, I don't. So for almost 2 months, I've been living without electricity. And I've learned a few things. Now this is very important now. Everyone, because like I never thought in 80 years that I would be living with no electricity. You don't think this would happen to you, because I'm reasonably intelligent. You know, I'm familiar with the modern world.
Yes.
But for the past 2 months, I literally have been living in the 1800s.
1800s house, like that?
Yes, that's a good show. Although I think that was 1900s house. But here's what I've learned. 3 things. 3 things. Everyone, after this show, go and do these 3 things. Or, well, you really could do 2 things. The third thing is a bonus. Number 1, write down phone numbers on a physical piece of paper. Because you never know when your iPhone is going to die out, or charge your battery with no power.
Just to back up, yes.
Number 2, you must buy a cranked up flashlight. Now, I don't know if we've promoted this on the show or not.
Well,
I know we did the radio.
We did sell the Infinity Crank radio, which I believe also has a light on it.
Nice. I wish mine had a radio thing on it.
Just crank it for 30 minutes to get 25 minutes of light and sound. Or 27 minutes of light only with no sound.
Nice. That's good. You must get a crank radio, or a crank flashlight, or radio. I bought my flashlight at the Walmart.
Yes.
But I would advise, if you see it, buy it. Because I was there recently and they didn't have it. And that was a bummer. Because I was going to buy one for various friends of mine as a Hanukkah gift.
Limited supply.
You never know when you're going to need that flashlight.
There's going to be a run on the stores, you know? You never know when the world's about to end, and then you got to get your supplies
We thought
first.
we thought we knew.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen, though. You'd be surprised how hard it is to brush your teeth without a light. That crank flashlight has been a godsend. Or wiping your butt on the toilet.
Okay, yeah, on the toilet. Yeah, okay.
Have you tried
I don't
doing
need
that?
to hear about this, but...
Number 3. Now, this is a bonus. This is something to be grateful for. McDonald's is your friend. McDonald's is your friend.
Yes?
Because
Why is that?
Because they have cheap eats, dollar burgers. Remember now, without electricity, you can't cook. Unless you have a gas stove. I'm
Right,
not sure
we
that
don't
works.
have gas stoves here in Hawaii. Everything is electricity.
Yeah, I couldn't cook anything really. Like a full meal, I could not. And McDonald's also has Wi-Fi, internet.
Right, free internet. It's
That is a
slow.
godsend.
It's very slow, but yes.
For many years, I've been dogging them because their food is unhealthy. But it's still food, though. Like when you're living on the edge, like Bon Jovi, you just gotta take what you can. McDonald's, thank you. I'm not gonna embrace McDonald's.
Would
but
you say that you are loving it?
I'm not gonna embrace McDonald's, but I will tip my invisible hat to them. Now, what I didn't tell you was that a few days ago, when I was first moving in some stuff, little things, I did sleep over the toy store that night.
Yes.
Just to kind of check it out, to feel it.
Now I would think
Feel
that would
the
be
walls.
very creepy because the toy store I'm imagining is full of dolls and other scary representations of humanoids.
Yes.
And we all know that's
was
frightening.
very
Whenever
frightening.
you have a statue or a doll, anything that is a distorted image of a human, it's disturbing to be around them, especially to sleep under the watchful
it is.
gaze of
It is.
100
Very disturbing.
giant-eyed,
You have no idea.
prepubescent girl characters with purple hair.
Uh-huh.
Let's just say.
A lot of them are in provocative positions. A lot of them have unclothed thighs and blossomed bosoms.
Now, was this a problem for you?
It was scary. It was frightening, especially since they're so small. Some of them were actually quite big. The store now, look, I know kids who watch or listen to this show, or watch and listen.
Right, I'm sure of it.
Now,
I have no evidence, but go on.
this is life, right? The point of all of this is that we're talking about life. We can't be ashamed of our animal instincts, our curiosities, our mental. I'll just stop right there. I don't want to get too sexual here.
I don't want you to.
But our store, or my room, does sell life-sized dolls, if you will. Quote-unquote dolls. Imagine, if you will, a 6-foot female doll.
Or even 7 feet tall.
Now, you look at the doll from the head down, and it looks human. It looks pretty human, right? Maybe it's dressed like a fancy lawyer or a stressed out doctor. But then the problem with these Japanese dolls is that the head, it looks alien. Now, I can tell that this is bothering you when I say that word alien, but just try to bear with me here. Almond-shaped eyes, spade-shaped head.
A head, the shape of the ace of spades, is something that's known to happen. The Flatwoods Monster, for example, had a head that shape, which we'll get into on our animation show. But please, go on.
Exactly. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So they were alien-like to you.
Yeah. Well, basically, they're big dolls that look kind of scary.
But just
they
the
don't
head,
look.
so you have to not
they
look
don't
at the
look
head.
human. See, my bed. Actually, I have a futon. A futon.
Yes.
So I have that in the middle of the. How to put this? Manly anime section of the store.
What does that mean?
It's the adult section of the store,
Oh, I see what you mean.
right? But these,
Put it there on purpose.
like,
You positioned your bed.
it's kind of. I'm just surrounded by these standing dolls, female and sadly male as well. But I put black bags over their heads because I don't want to be, I feel the eyes on me. So one night I'm sleeping. Well, the first night there, I'm sleeping there. And around 3 a.m, I wake up and I'm paralyzed. I can't move.
Sleep paralysis.
Sleep paralysis, where
happened.
your mind is awake but your body is still asleep.
As you know,
Scientists call it sleep
scientists
paralysis.
have said the brain paralyzes the body while we sleep because otherwise you'd act out the actions of your dream.
And that would be a night terror where people
or
just
that
kick
could
and
be,
scream.
or that could be like sleepwalking. That's when that goes wrong, is sleepwalking.
So thank God for sleep paralysis.
But sometimes when we wake up, the body forgets to unparalyze the body for a little while, and then you wake up unable to move, and that's what happened to you.
Well, I don't know about anyone else in the world, but growing up in Hawaii, you always heard stories about this. And the elders, the Asian elders, tell you that it's a demon doing it to you.
Yes.
And the tip of the day that my mama told me was to wiggle your toes. And that'll make you wake up, and it'll make the demon go away. And it always worked. It always worked. And I usually get I still get them to this day, obviously. Like maybe once every month, once every other month or so. Many times a year.
So this is common for you.
So I must have some kind of mental problem.
And you perceive some kind of demonic presence when this happens.
Yes.
Do you? Yes.
Well, for the longest time, I thought it was something scientific, pretty much, with my brain. Something wrong. Chemical imbalance, too much caffeine, too much guava.
Sure. Well, it's like that.
But now I don't know, though.
It's like the God helmet, right? You've heard of the God helmet.
I have not, but it sounds like a good...
Well, the scientists have thought for a long time that there's a part of your brain that senses a godlike presence. And that it just happens because a certain neurons get triggered in the brain in a certain specific part of it. And for some people that happens naturally, right? Which is why people have visions sometimes and feel like they've been touched by God.
Oh, usually on
Other people
drugs
don't.
or other narcotics, yes.
Others don't ever feel that just because their part of their brain that does that doesn't ever trigger. But they created a helmet with electrodes on it. And you put on the helmet and they turn it on and it's supposed to stimulate the part of your brain.
Yeah.
And people who use that helmet always say that they feel like there's a presence in the room with them even when there isn't.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps that's what was happening to you.
I've heard similar stories with that helmet thing in terms of recreating astral travel, which is also a part of my story here. So I'm lying there, flat on my back, with no blanket, because it gets quite hot in there, if you know what I mean.
No.
And then I wake up, I'm paralyzed, and looking right at me, like hovering over me, is a scary, scary face.
I don't I don't like the sound of this.
At first I thought one of the sexual dolls had fallen on me, which would not be a problem.
That's a natural explanation. But no, that wasn't true?
That was not true.
What did you see specifically?
I saw a demonic face. My mom called this the black attack. I see why now. I mean, it's always been a dark, shadowy figure with red eyes. You know, the shadow people, pretty much.
The shadow people.
I think it's all connected. It's all connected. Psychic vampire, whatever, you know, draining you. And I was able to remember my mom's tip of the day, which was wiggle your toes. And I did. And as I was wiggling my toes, an intense fear overtook me. And I was able to literally kick out of my trance. Or so I thought. See, because for many years, that's how I got out of it. Wiggle your toes, wiggle them, and then just kick out of it, and then you wake up, and everything's okay. But this time...
This was different.
I actually kicked the thing. I kicked the shadow person.
What part of its body did you kick?
The obvious part. It was a man. Let's put it this way. I was still under my paralysis. But mentally, I was still out of my head. I was astral traveling, let's put it that way.
I see. So you were no longer in your body.
You could say that, right? Spiritually, metaphysically, you could say that I was not in my body anymore. I had a tube from the back of my head attached to my body, which some call the spiritual umbilical cord.
I've heard of this, yes.
But another person said a theory how it's actually a wormhole is what it is, really.
It's connecting your astral body to your physical body.
Whatever it is, it's connected.
And if that ever gets cut, then you will die.
Yes, very bad news bears if that ever happens. So, I'm talking to this guy, this shadow person.
What do you mean? So
I actually was able to...
get up in your astral body and you talk to him?
Mentally.
Yes.
Well, let's just say that I'm in my spiritual body,
now
which
you're saying...
feels like a real body.
Now, shadow people usually, and you tell me if this is true, are a black shape, almost like a silhouette, pure shadow.
He was still a pure shadow.
No details on their body. It's just an outline.
But because I was now free of the fear, because the body has the fear, now at that point I was just spiritual energy, whatever you call it. So I didn't have no fear at that point. And I could see the shadow person clearly than ever before. And while still ebony, the person had spectacles, as well as testicles.
Wait, you could see that?
I had to apologize for that kick that it did. And a top hat and a cane.
They always have a hat, yes.
Yes.
I was doing research on this, but go on.
Had a hat. And I could see that I wasn't in the same room anymore. I had transcended into another dimension, still in the same place, but not in the same place. See what I mean here? It's like a layer, an invisible layer behind the same location that was invisible to me. So I could see outlines of the anime dolls and books and whatever around me, literal outline, placed over a different location. I was in the woods.
I see.
I don't know what woods exactly. There were 3 moons and a lot of women, shadow women, frolicking around trees. They seemed to be Wicca.
What were they wearing?
I couldn't tell. They were ebony, though. Everyone looked black. But I felt very calm and at home.
You mean like shadow people?
There were shadow people, yes. I mean, that's black.
Yes,
that's black.
I understand. Go on.
So, this person that tried to suck out my energy apologized, too.
Really?
To me.
That's nice.
He thought I was special because no one had ever kicked out of it before and saw them, lived in their world. I don't know how I did it. Maybe I'm a chosen one.
No one has ever kicked out of his finisher before.
No.
But you did.
But I did.
And so you earned his respect.
I was the first one in history to actually do this. Whatever time means to these shadow people, which is nothing. This person was the Shadow Lord.
What?
AKA the Shadow Boss.
What? Shadow Boss?
He schooled me in their ways, in their little organization here, what they do. And his name was Hernandez.
Oh, my.
He became my teacher.
Wait.
So
this is all happening all in one night while you're sleeping?
Yeah, but time means nothing to them. Well, I was under this...
What did he teach you?
He told me why the shadow people, or why the psychic vampires, a.k.a. demons that sit on your chest, sometimes on your face, why they do what they do. And there's a reason why you feel that fear, too. They put that fear on you on purpose to extract the fear, that negative energy, to feed the higher gods, the elders.
And who are the higher gods?
The elders are above us, and even they don't know what they are.
Could it be the space jellyfish I was talking about earlier?
Maybe.
Were those aliens?
Maybe.
Yeah. Do you think it's maybe time for a break?
Enjoy this commercial break, folks. We'll be right back on Doom Business. Friends, our partners at ViewScreen On Products have been bringing you cutting-edge radio technology for years now, including the advanced CD-AM radio recorder, Model 2003. Record all your favorite AM radio shows, such as radical right-wing political shows, sports, NPR, and of course, Doom Business. Just load up the radio recorder with 8 D-cell batteries and a stack of CD plus Rs. Record up to 60 minutes on each CD. Note, it has to be CD plus Rs, not CD minus Rs, or CDRWs. When the recorder fills up a CD, it automatically ejects it and loads a new one. Warning, warning, do not stand right in front of the machine with any sensitive body parts facing towards it when it ejects a disc. Enjoy your favorite shows anytime you want, even on the go, using your CD Walkman or boombox. In the morning, I want you to visit viewscreenon.com/offer and order your CD-AM recorder Model 2003. And we're back, folks.
Now,
I feel that I must also add in this little bit of information here. Alien abductees usually say that when they see an alien, they also feel intense fear. Beyond normal intense fear.
I felt that when I was abducted by
So
an
I
alien,
think
but
that
yes.
that also is a part of this. This is also them.
I mean, who wouldn't feel fear?
The thing is, our third-dimensional brains can't really fathom what they truly look like, because we're limited in our thinking. So they look like aliens sometimes, and they look like Sasquatches sometimes. But really, even what I was looking at, the shadow people, isn't really what they look like. I wonder what they really look like. But anyway, so what they did is they extract the fear, and they shoot it out to the higher gods that need to eat as well, but they eat energy. Just like how we eat cows and lower life forms for energy, they also need to eat energy. This is why they invented football games and hockey games.
Wait a second. Hold on there. Hold on.
They love that aggression.
Hold on. They invented football?
Because the higher beings also can communicate with political leaders and
They can control them.
influence, not really control,
Yes.
just influence. But they love that stuff though. They love negative energy. So this is what Hernandez told me.
So are you saying they invented football because it creates negative energy?
Yeah. Yeah, and all like, if you can imagine like a stadium full of people excited or angry about a touchdown that didn't work out, all of that energy going up like a beam to the higher ones, the elder ones.
And so they're just eating.
If you've seen Cabin in the Woods, it's those elder gods that they're talking about. And I'm sorry to spoil anything here.
Wait, no spoilers. I haven't seen that movie.
Right, but basically that's kind of how it is.
So basically what you're saying is that on Super Bowl Sunday, while we're eating nachos,
They're eating us. Now, I know this disturbs a lot of people, but the truth has to be known here. This is what Hernandez told me. Now, I see you're tearing up a little bit up your nose. It's okay.
yes,
It's all right.
I'm fine. Go
So-
on. It's just the allergy. Go on.
Here's the fun part, though. Hernandez, being the excitable man that he was, bless you,
It's just the allergy.
or the
I'm fine.
or the implant.
I'm all right.
Where is the implant now, by the way? Where has it traveled?
I think it's in my nose.
Oh,
Please continue with your
Right.
story, though. They're eating people.
Right.
But just their emotions.
Hernandez actually was not the man. It was not his shift, anyway. He was actually working for someone else who didn't show up that day. He was another shadow person was MIA, so he took over his spot. But Hernandez, just like any good boss, doesn't like to do the work. He likes collecting the money, but he doesn't really want to do the work.
I know what you're talking about.
So he hired me to take over for a day.
What do you mean?
Well, quote unquote.
He hired you?
Quote unquote day, whatever day means in terms of time for these people.
So this is all while you were sleeping?
It felt like a day. Well, sleeping, what does that mean? I don't know.
Why would they hire you? Like, what would they pay you?
Well, because for some reason I just had the gift to do what they did.
Yes.
And they didn't pay in money.
No?
Do you know what they paid in?
I'm not sure. Spirit money or
Close. Extreme sexual pleasure. Extreme sexual pleasure. Now, at first I was shocked, maybe even a little appalled. I didn't know exactly what they meant. But it is how it sounds. He assured me. He put his hand on my shoulder and he smiled, I think. And he assured me, it is what you think. And I said, well, what do I got to do? And he said, well, just travel from place to place. He gave me a list of names for that night.
A list?
A list of names for that night for me to do, people for me to do, and some coordinates for Google Maps. Very helpful.
I see. And what was on this list?
Just various names. Well, not names. I mean, these people don't care about names. They just want your energy. So it's just, person A, person B, white, black, yellow, brown.
So you just
It's
magically know
it's a bit with coordinates.
who these people are.
Yes, with coordinates. Now, to us, that seems disrespectful. But to them, do you really care about how a cow feels? You just want to eat them. You don't care about the name of a cow. Or do you? No offense to people with cow pets. He told me that all I had to do was just think of a place. This is very similar to remote viewing, too.
Right. This is like
earlier.
astral travel. Now, I know about remote viewing.
They actually gave you exact coordinates.
But
and
I have
fulfilled the
never
coordinates.
astrally traveled in my astral body before. I don't do that kind of stuff.
You didn't? I don't remember
So,
what we spoke about that
I
one
only
episode.
did a remote viewing. But please, go on.
It's the same
So
thing. It's pretty much the same thing on a
You could
different
just
level.
instantly travel to this place
Yeah.
as long as you knew the coordinates
Well-
on Google Maps.
I focused on a coordinate. That night I had 3 people to visit. And,
And did you go down into Street View?
well, as I was standing there in the woods, I focused on the coordinate on the paper next to the person's name. And like a big TV screen, Google Maps popped up. And there's a little plus and minus thing so I could zoom in and out of the map. And when I was ready, I would just take a few steps back, kind of lean down on a knee and get ready for my sprint. Now, he didn't have to do this, but it did help a little bit. Then Hernandez slapped my butt, and off I went. I just went into the map. And I heard people clapping behind me, too. Very encouraging. So, before I get into my first case, now remember, there were 3. But you asked earlier what was the pay. And I said extreme sexual pleasure.
I remember you said that.
I did. Now, what does that mean exactly?
But this is not physical. This is only
Well, I mean,
mental.
what does that mean? What does that mean? What is physical?
You're not in your physical body, so...
But I could still feel things, though. We all had lucid dreams. We've all had dreams where, how to put this PG-wise, if you can imagine a straw going into a soda, we've all had those experiences.
I have definitely drank a soda before.
Yes, and then you wake up, usually, right before the climax of the last sip. But at first I was appalled at how Hernandez encouraged it. Hernandez said, go ahead and just touch whoever you want. It doesn't matter to us. And I was like, well, I mean, that sounds good and all, but I have morals here. I have a code of ethics. And he said, look.
Morels?
He said, look, you're not in the physical body anymore. Shirashima. Here in the higher planes, in the spiritual world, everyone's molesting everybody. It doesn't matter. We're above guilt here. It's all about the pleasure and the pain. So as your pay, I will have, he gave me 3.5 seconds to do whatever I wanted mentally, spiritually, to these people in their dreams.
Huh.
So first I suck out their negative energy, channel it through me, and shoot it out into space so the elders can feed off of that negative fear.
Go on.
And for 3 seconds after that, 3.5 seconds precisely, I can go into the mind of the preferably female and get happy with them. No guilt. And that got me thinking, okay, maybe this isn't so bad. If everyone is happy, the elders get to eat, and I get to eat as well. I accept it. So I'm on my first trip. I go through the map, and I'm in Kapolei.
Oh, of course. Sure.
Which is very far. You talk about far, it's way farther than Pearl City. It's way out there. I see this girl lying on her bed. Older. She's an older woman.
Yes.
Probably 25 years old.
Huh, that's pretty old.
And first I'm standing there in the dark. And I think I'm in the nude. So at first I'm still a bit guilty. But gradually I muster up the courage to do what I gotta do to do my job. And I crawl onto the bed.
Wait, what did you do then?
Well, for a good 30 minutes, I'm just over her, looking into her face, wondering if I should really do this, if I should extract her energy. My first step was to make her aware that I was there. I had to wake her up. So I kind of just tapped her on the nose a little bit with my finger, mind you.
Yes.
And I kind of just I gave a little slap in her face, just kind of. That worked.
So this went on for a few minutes, I'm guessing.
30 minutes, right? Because I was just too afraid. I mean, basically, it was breaking an entry, and that wasn't too good. But eventually, though, her eyes shot open. She saw me, and fear did take her.
So now tables have turned, where you are now.
I am the one
the
now.
person sitting on someone's chest,
and I feel very guilty. Now, mind you, this all might have just been a dream. Now, I'm not saying I did this in real life. So I don't want to feel the devil on me right now.
This is astral.
For doing what I did, right? Either it really happened or it might have been all a dream. So forgive me if what I am saying of what I did is a bit disturbing and psychotic.
Yes.
But this is just what I remember. So, I sucked out her energy through my mouth. My mouth was not touching her mouth. But I did see stars fly out of her mouth into my mouth. And then I shot it out my back to space. And with my 3.5 seconds, I turned into spaghetti. And I went into her nose and into her brain.
Of course.
And I influenced her dreams. I was in a city full of flowers.
What? Okay, go on.
This was her dream. And then in those flowers, in that flower patch, I made sweet love to her. And we were both very happy. She was very willing. Actually, she forced it on me. She jumped on me.
I believe you.
Mm-hmm. So see how that works? First I'm on her, then now she's on me. So now it's equal, or it's neutral.
That sounds...
We cancel each other out.
I believe that. Go on.
So after that point, I felt less guilt. And the second person was actually a dog. So not a person, but an animal.
Okay.
I didn't do much there. I actually just stood in front of the doghouse. And from a distance, I just pointed, and I just called the scared dog energy into space.
I feel like you're not telling me the entire story.
I would rather not talk about this right now, if ever. But basically, I did my job there. And then I was on the third person, the last on the list. Now, at this point, my job was almost complete. My time was almost over. As I was looking at the houses below me, because I was flying through space and time, going towards my destination, As I was flying towards there, Hernandez's head, ghost head, popped up in front of me, beyond the clouds, like a great god. And he said, look, you're almost out of time here, so do this fast, because at some point you're going to be in your body. Thanks for the work, though. Good job. Hope you enjoyed your pay.
So it's almost coming to an end now.
Yeah, and it felt really weird. Like, it did really feel like I had 1 foot out a window and 1 foot in my body. Like, I could feel myself being pulled in. And my vision was getting blurry. I could see people walking the streets, and their faces were a bit blurry. Like, I couldn't really tell anymore who was who, or what was what. But I knew I was getting to my third destination soon. But I didn't know exactly where it was. I just focused on the coordinates, those numbers, and they took me there automatically. Now I'm in a room. I'm sensing I was on a mountain somewhere, a fortress, a castle, a sky castle of some kind. And I'm in this room, and it's just made of mirrors. There's mirrors everywhere, like in Conan the Destroyer, if you remember that scene with the wizard.
Yes.
And he was in his whole place was just mirrors.
Mirrors, yes.
Right? There are even mirrors on the ceiling, which was quite disturbing, because you know what that means. But
and the floor.
I couldn't see myself through those mirrors, because of course you can't, because I was a spirit. But I saw the person lying on his bed, and he had silk bed sheets, and I couldn't see the face. The face was blurry. But I couldn't tell if it was male or female, too. Couldn't tell. But let's just say that as a human being, as a man, I had a bit more gas to go. I was 51% sure that it might have been Linda Lingle. 51% sure.
That still leaves a lot of room for error, though.
So, basically, I climb up on top of the woman. I extract the negative energy. The person did struggle, so I knew they knew I was there. They struggled. And I felt the fear, so I sucked in the fear, and then I shot it out my back. My chakra, my first chakra, which I think is near my groin, the sex chakra. And then I had my 3.5 seconds. At that point, my job was complete. All they wanted was the negative energy. So I pretty much was 50%, 80% in my physical body at that point. But I couldn't go into the person's brain anymore. Like, I lost that power. I pretty much was just physical, 20% physical at that point. And I pulled down the sheet. Because, at that point I had to do things physically.
I see.
I pulled down the sheet, her silk blanket, and I see man chest. But that's not it.
No.
I also saw, now this is weird, I don't know exactly what this was, but I saw something moving across this person's belly, this man's belly. It looked like a bug of some kind. It's moving around.
That's very weird, because
Around the belly.
When my implant moves around, it feels the same way as that. So maybe it was someone else who has an implant.
You think Linda Lingle has an implant?
Well, she was the governor, so probably.
They're all controlled by the Illuminati. Now, at this point, I am 1% in the astral world, and I feel myself waking up a little bit. But right before that happened, right before I woke up, the implant, or the weird bug, or whatever it was traveling in under the skin of the person, went up to the neck and into the nose.
That's really weird. When did this happen?
Well, it was like a few days ago.
Oh, okay. I mean, no reason. I'm just wondering when it happened.
And then I was slingshotted back into my body. And I woke up in a cold, hot sweat, confused, petrified, if you know what I mean. Angry at what I did. I'm telling you, folks, we all think that we're good people here. We all think we have high standards, holy ethics. Of course you wouldn't do this or that. You'd never do a bad thing. It's unspeakable. You pay your taxes. You love America.
Yes.
You're a good whole human being. But I tell you, when you have that power to let your pleasures run wild, no consequences, that's when you know yourself. And I must tell you that I am embarrassed of what I did. I am embarrassed of what I did.
Okay, don't hit the table because the mic is on the table.
Right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I am embarrassed of what I did. And I want to apologize for what I did. Right now, on the air. I feel I have to still explain, though, that they were also happy about it. She seemed pleased. So, you're welcome. Or I'm sorry. I still don't know if it was real or not. I'm guessing it was just all in my head. Probably just a bad dream. But if you ever do have a night terror, not night terror, that's a different thing. Sleep paralysis. Wiggle your toes, and you should just be just fine. You'll just snap out of it. It's all just a bad dream.
Good to keep in mind, although I've never had sleep paralysis myself.
Really?
Except for maybe once a couple of days ago. But I think I was just imagining that. So that was just my implant, probably, Yeah.
That's our episode for today. If anyone has any questions, please reply. Contact us on our Facebook or on the YouTube. Post your questions there.
Yes, if we get some questions, we will answer them. Questions from the audience. It could be about anything paranormal.
If you had any night terrors, I keep saying night terrors. Night terrors is when you actually physically move around and hit people. Your lover while in bed. Sleep paralysis is when...
Accidentally, of course.
Yes. Sleep paralysis is different. That's when you have a strong fear overtake you and you can't move. And you see a holy, spiritual, alien, scary face in front of you.
Actually, if either of those things happen to you, we want to hear about it.
Until next time, folks, this is Doom Business, and business is dooming, and I'm sorry, or you're welcome.
That was Doom Business, your weekly dose of the paranormal. The time is now 1:30 a.m. Hey kids, you like basketball? Well, how about exercising your brain instead? Stay tuned for Hip Mozart with Shades McFadden, spelled Fatten.